If you're an enthusiast looking for a luxury SUV that drives more like a luxury sports sedan, it's pretty hard to beat the winning combination of the BMW X5. This nameplate has been around since 2000, and when BMW introduced the latest fourth generation back in 2019, it really raised the bar in the luxury midsize SUV segment. Now for 2024, the entire X5 family got a pretty significant refresh, and while we've had a chance to show you guys pretty much every model, we haven't had a chance to actually spend time with this model. This is the ultimate version of the X5 known as the X5M Competition. And for this refresh, BMW has essentially removed the base X5M, and all of them now only come with the Competition package, which means we have the most powerful version of the company's signature 4.4-liter V8, delivering 617 horsepower underneath the hood. So if you guys are looking for the ultimate driving luxury SUV, has BMW managed to raise the bar even further with their latest X5M Competition? Stay tuned to find out. So before we start talking about the updated exterior styling of the new X5M Competition, I thought I'd start by popping the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, of course, the BMW M badge basically stands for motor, and all X5M competitions use the most powerful version of the company's 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, it's a very pretty looking engine bay, and this is essentially an uprated version built by the BMW M Performance division. The company essentially takes the N63 4.4-liter V8 and turns it into an S63, courtesy again of more boost, additional power. But basically what that means is we have a 4.4-liter double overhead cam twin turbocharged V8 augmented by a 48-volt mild hybrid system. That mild hybrid system was new for the 2024 refresh. It basically adds 13 horsepower and 147 pound-feet of torque on its own, but it never adds that output to the engine. The engine delivers 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. Now those power figures are unchanged versus the pre-refresh model, but it is again 17 more horsepower versus the base X5M, which the company no longer offers here in the US. It all goes out through an 8-speed ZF-sourced automatic transmission with the company's signature xDrive M all-wheel drive system as standard. It's a rear bias system with an electronic limited slip rear diff, which will allow you to essentially let the tail step out because it'll send more power to the rear if you demand for it. The downside, of course, with all of this additional performance is the fuel economy did drop compared to the M60, which also has a different variation of this V8. This one here is rated at 13 in the city and 19 on the, 13 in the city and 18 on the highway. That's around a 4 mpg reduction versus the M60i version. This has roughly a 22-gallon fuel tank. You're looking at around 300-ish miles of range on premium on a full tank. Now, BMW claims this model should get to 60 in 3.7 seconds. With the M drivers package, this car will also have a top speed of 177 miles an hour, and X5s can tow a maximum of 7,200 pounds. However, this model is not available with the tow package, which is necessary if you guys want to be able to tow that amount. So I'm not sure BMW recommends towing with the X5M, which could be another reason to go for the M60i. In terms of the curb weight, this vehicle also weighs in at just under 5,500 pounds. It's around 150 pounds heavier versus the regular V8 powered M60. But let's go ahead and close up this hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now you can see my particular test car is a really beautiful color combination. Obviously the X5M got a big refresh in 2024 like the rest of the family, but this color, this is that matte finish gray exterior color for an extra $3,600. It just looks menacing. It looks sinister with all the all black accents. You can see the hood has the prominent bulges here with a nice BMW logo. It's got that big twin kidney grille, but it's not too big. It's not obnoxious like on some other BMWs. I love the X5M badge there. You can see the front fascia is unique on the M version of the X5. It looks different versus other X5s with its more aggressive front end, larger air intakes. You have the prerequisite parking sensors and 360 camera and the adaptive cruise. My test car has the driver assistance professional package which rolls that in. And then the headlights, you can see they are the same updated full LED headlights with the LED low and high beams, LED turn signals. I don't love the way the turn signals look when they fade in and fade out like that. It just almost looks like the turn signals are malfunctioning. I, applaud BMW for wanting to be different versus the sequentials, but I think if being different for just to be different, it doesn't look better, in my opinion. is something I wouldn't have done. You can see down here, no fog lights, but again, more functional openings. Love the gloss black again with this matte gray exterior color. Now moving around the side profile, the X5 continues to be a mid-size SUV that's really the right size. At 194.8 inches long, this is around 0.6 inches longer than other X5 models, courtesy of the larger bumpers or the more aggressive bumpers front and rear. You have a 117-inch long wheelbase, which again gives this thing perfect proportions, I think. And then you can see all X5Ms come with a 21 and 22-inch wheel. So the front has a 21-inch wheel wrapped in a 295 by 35 ZR21. The rears are a 22 wrapped in a 315 by 30 ZR22s. You can see the brake rotor's massive. I believe those are like 16 inches in diameter, clamped down by a 6-piston caliper. They're cross-drilled, of course. No carbon ceramics, but you can see I like the red painted X-Spec. You can also get that in a different color if you'd like. The wheels, these are the M Star Spoke 21 and 22-inch wheels. I will say that BMWs have an annoying amount of brake dust that shows up anytime you drive this vehicle. You can see I actually just wiped these wheels down yesterday, and they're already covered in more brake dust. So that's something that I get super annoyed with German cars. It also has the M Adaptive fixed suspension, steel suspension. You don't get the air suspension available on this car like in other vehicles. You can see I love the full paint finish here. You have functional vents over here along with the gloss black. You can see the mirrors. These are the M specific side mirrors, which I love the way they look. They're power folding, black painted cameras, and turn signals integrated into them. You also have black accents along the window trim, black for the roof rails, a panoramic glass roof, which is included if you guys go for the executive package. And then backing away from this angle here, even though this is just a refresh, I have to say it looks significantly much cleaner and more modern versus the pre-refresh versions of the X5. Now moving around the rear, you can see the taillights also got a big update with the light signature. Again, I don't love the fade in and out of the LED turn signal. I just think it looks like it's broken, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. There's a higher spoiler at the back here. You have a rear window wiper that's not hidden like in some SUVs. You can see there's big badging here, X5M competition in black, which looks nice. And then of course you have the signature quad outlet exhaust. Thank the Lords that this thing still comes with a V8. It sounds great. Let's go ahead and fire it up so you can hear what the engine sounds like. And I'll definitely miss the sound of this V8, whatever BMW decides to do for the next gen. We'll have to wait and see. That's probably still a few years away. Now coming to the cargo area, I love the fact that BMW still does the split tailgate design. You can see when you open that up, it only opens the top 3/4 version or portion of the tailgate. If I push this button here, you can see that brings the little lower portion down. This is great if you guys plan to tailgate or you want to open up this cargo area and your stuff's not going to fall out from driving around, which is a great feature to have. You can see with the seats up, this vehicle only is a 2-row. You get a maximum of 34 cubic feet of storage space, which is a fairly good amount. You can see the carpet feels pretty nice here. You also have a nice underfloor storage with an actual temporary spare, so you don't have to deal with a fix-a-flat kit or run flat tires. If you want to fold down the second row seats, it expands the cargo to just over 72 cubic feet, which is pretty much average for the segment. It's going to be a usable amount, and that's precisely why the X5 is the perfect size vehicle when you don't need to carry 7 people. So moving on to the interior of the new BMW X5M competition. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. You can see this is the standard BMW Intelligent Access key that this car comes with. It's basically got a more, M-ified version of the key with the signature M colors. It has the usual buttons here for lock, unlock, power liftgate, and panic function. There's also a remote start from the fob itself. If you tap that lock button 3 times in sequence, it'll activate the remote start. I think BMW also offers their digital key, phone as a key function as well if you're an owner of the vehicle. And then like so many other BMW products, this also comes with an auto walk-away lock and unlock function. So I have the key fob on me as I approach the vehicle and get close enough, you can hear the doors will unlock, the mirrors will unfold, the door handle is a traditional style, and then if I walk away from the vehicle, it also will lock automatically. You can turn that feature on and off. You can also turn the beep on and off if you'd prefer. You can see open the door, you can see my particular test car has a wonderful color combination. This is absolutely fantastic. It's that frozen gray pearl metallic exterior, and then you have the upgraded Sakhir orange and black two-tone full merino leather interior. Now I know this may look red, but this is actually what BMW calls orange. It definitely is like a reddish orange, like a magma color, but it will slightly look more orange in different lights. With the full merino effect, you also get the leather, the orange leather on the door panel as well, as opposed to the black. If you don't go for the full merino, these little logos here also light up at night, which looks really great. These are also the M specific sport bucket seats. They adjust, I believe, in 20 different ways. They're heated, ventilated, and massaging, so that's also a really nice touch. The massage function is part of the executive package or an a la carte option for $1,000. The seats also have a 2-person memory for the driver and for the passenger side. So it has all those usual luxuries that you expect. Looking at the door panel, you can see really nice leather stitching with contrast stitching. It's nice and soft padded. You have more of that perforated leather here, leather over here where you'd rest your elbows. The window controls have a nice high quality feel to them, although I wish they were accented in metal, especially at this price point. You have power folding mirrors, your release there for the liftgate, carbon fiber trim. The my particular test car also has the optional, I think it's 20 speaker Bowers & Wilkins premium sound for $3,600. It sounds really good. If you guys are an audiophile, I highly recommend that. And then you can see beautiful actual leather covering the lower portion here. Nice storage pocket over here. It goes really nicely with all the color themes, of course, and really this interior just makes a great first impression when you open the door. Now, stepping inside, because of that, SUV profile, this has a nice, easy step in, which is great if you guys are coming from like an M3 or an M2. As I shut the door, you can see there is a soft close feature that's included if you guys go for the executive package. If you slam it normally, it has a really nice solid sounding thunk. And then, of course, once you're inside, the start stop button is located here right by the shifter. And this car is a mild hybrid, but there are definitely times, as you guys heard, it almost sounded like it started up in a traditional manner. I think it has to do with the exhaust system, because when you activate the remote start, it actually will just whir to life like you expect because of that 48-volt mild hybrid system. And then, of course, with the refresh, you now have the latest version of BMW's iDrive system. I believe they're now in 8.5. You have a 12.3-inch display here for the instrument panel, which is slightly customizable. And then over here in the center, you have a 14.9-inch display. So it's almost 15 inches across. It's technically 2 separate screens, even though it's on one curved piece of glass. Again, like I mentioned, this has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, courtesy of their latest iDrive 8.5 software. You can see it has embedded GPS, as you'd expect. Going to the home screen here, going to your apps, you can see all your usual apps for this vehicle are kind of buried in this little widget area here where you can access all sorts of different functions for the vehicle. The climate is now annoyingly in the screen, which definitely may bother those of you who prefer the actual hard buttons. And you can see you have a triple zone climate control in this vehicle. You have your heated and cooled seats, which is now located in the screen, along with the heated steering wheel as well. I do wish that BMW would have done a traditional hard button for that, because there are times where I started the vehicle up, it took a second for it to load to give me access to it. So that's something that you kind of have to get used to. You can see the massaging seat is going to be located either on the screen over here. You can see there's different types of massage, or you can simply just push a button here, which I very much appreciate. It'll just activate the massage. I will say the massage doesn't work as well as some of the competitors I've tested from Audi, from Mercedes, so I'm not sure it's worth the extra $1,000 for the massaging seat function. If I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's the backup camera, full 360 camera with the top-down view. It also has parking sensors, where cross-traffic alert and braking. Obviously, the camera quality and the resolution is pretty much what you expect it to be for a modern luxury vehicle. It certainly is going to, give you the kind of renderings and whatnot that you're looking for. You can also kind of do a perimeter scan around the car, and again, that looks really fantastic, although the wheels don't match the actual look of the one that I'm driving. But again, the resolution quality is very much what I expect it to be. Now, looking at the dash, you can see beautiful carbon fiber, which is actually included. It's not an extra charge. You can also go for wood or alloy if you'd prefer. The dash has beautiful leather across the entire upper portion here with the aluminum trim. You have these new air vents, which are manually adjustable, which I appreciate. You can also, there's a nice satisfying click to open and close the vent. There's new LED lighting for the XM or the M badge over here that does change colors. I think there's 64 different colors of ambient lighting to choose from. This is definitely a very classy looking vehicle at night. It's not overwhelming like you might find in like a Mercedes competitor. You can see down over here, you have a volume knob, some touch sensitive buttons over here, which I don't love. The entire panel actually moves. More beautiful carbon fiber, leather along this entire lower portion here. Open this up, you can see you have a wireless phone charging pad. Then you have heated and cooled cup holders, which is definitely a unique feature on this vehicle. I think only the M with the executive package, or maybe the M60 also offers it as well. I can't remember, I'll have to double check that. You can see over here, this is where you can control the iDrive 8 or you can also use the touchscreen. Most of you will use the touchscreen as opposed to the rotary wheel. It has some different shortcut buttons. You can also turn on and off the stability control, the parking sensors, the auto start, stop, defeat. And then you can also go into here into the M mode where you can adjust the drive mode setting here, go into the setup where you can adjust the setup individually. And then you can also just go into the screen and adjust that. You can also go into an M configure one for M1 and M2. That's how you kind of quickly access your most aggressive drive mode setting, which is definitely nice via these little buttons over here. Speaking of which, the steering wheel, I forgot to mention, is definitely unique to the M version of this car. You can see it has very thick rim, nice 9-3 grip. You have the signature tricolor stitching, cross stitching on the steering wheel. My car also has the driver assistance professional package, which is a nice feature to have if you guys do constant long road trips. You can see there's carbon fiber paddle shifters, which are mounted to the steering wheel. There's also a nice leather stitch airbag cover. The horn, it sounds pretty nondescript, but it doesn't sound puny. It sounds like it's, you know, a nice tone given the size of this vehicle. And then of course there's a power tilt telescoping steering wheel that gives you a good amount of adjustability so you can get comfortable in the driving position of this vehicle. Now, the shifter is certainly interesting. This is an M specific shifter. You can see this is basically when the shifter is in neutral, it's in this position. To go into reverse, I have to kick it to the left and push up. That goes into reverse. To go into drive, I have to go into neutral first and then kick it this way to go to drive, kick it again over here to go into a manual mode. There's also different levels of intensity for the shifting. You can see there's like 3 different levels for how fast you want this to shift, and then you can also push the P button to go into park. So again, a little bit of a finicky shifter. You have to get used to it. I guess it looks better than the little toggle that you can find on other BMW models. You can see here there's a downhill assist control feature, electronic parking brake. I like the, you know, beautiful carbon fiber with the alloy trim here, and there's a very minimal use of piano black plastic, which I also appreciate down here. You have a nice padded center console. If I open this up, you can see it's got a USB-C charging port and a USB-A over here. It's a pretty decent size as well. These seats, like I mentioned earlier, look great. They are highly supportive and comfortable. Even the padding for the leather, these are the upgraded full merino leather, also feels really high quality. And then if you look at the glove box, you can see it's actually big. It goes into the dash. It's fitting all my camera gear. It's damped and it's lined with felt. Above me, you can see there's the Alcantara headliner. There's ambient or LED map lighting over here. And then you can see over here at night, this also lights up via LED lights in each of these little dots that you see in the glass. It looks really great at night. It's part of the executive package. You can also open this up to vent air if you guys would prefer. It lets in some more light and some fresh air, which is definitely a nice touch. There's also a retractable shade in case the sun is too intense. But overall, this interior certainly feels very worthy of the BMW badge. It feels luxurious, it feels sporty, it's high tech as well. And while it may take you a little bit of time to get used to, of course, this iDrive 8 system, it certainly is, you know, very well and easy, or very impressive looking, and it is relatively intuitive once you kind of get everything set up. But let's go ahead and hop into the backseat area of this car, because the X5 is a mid-size luxury SUV that offers a ton of space back here. Now, I did say a ton. It's more than like an X3, but it's also not the biggest backseat in the class. BMW says you have around 37.5 inches of legroom back here, which is around 2 to 3 less than some of its rivals. Still a good amount, however. You can see the door panel back here has beautiful leather stitching, metal and carbon fiber, of course, beautiful leather here, even leather down here, which is a nice detailed touch. The executive package rolls in these manual retractable peasant blockers, which is a feature that a lot of parents really love if you have kids back here. And then you can see these seats. They're the same sake or orange with the contrast stitching and black accents. You can also fold the seat down to expand the cargo, although it's not a completely flat floor. It kind of has a little bit of a slope. Pull the seat back up. It doesn't offer the ability to recline the seat back, which is something that some competitors offer. These seats are essentially fixed. They just offer that little fold position. Once I get back here, you can see the space. It's pretty good, actually. This is where I'd have the seat to drive. You can see there's good foot space underneath here. I can cross my legs and get comfortable, but I definitely notice there is less leg room. I mean, 2 to 3 inches is a fairly good amount compared to some rivals. You do have rear seat air vents here, and down here you have actually, quad zone climate control, which is a nice feature to have. You have 3-level heated seats back here, but you can see there's an empty button here. That's where you could put cooled seats. They're not available here in the US, which I think is annoying considering the price point of this vehicle. You have a little bit of storage over here. You have 2 USB-C charging ports, a 12-volt under here. And then you can see there's also another USB here and another USB here. This is where you can have a rear seat entertainment system installed. So there's basically 4 USB charging ports back here, which is nice. The vehicle's body is pretty wide, so you could fit 3 across back here if you wanted to. You can see, fold this down, there's an armrest with some storage and some cup holders over here, which is nice. The headroom space, you can see, for somebody my height is good. I'm 5'7". The sunroof does take up a little bit of space, but the lighting here is really nice. But overall, the back seat of this car is definitely very usable, very practical, but just remember, some competitors do offer more rear seat legroom. So BMW's latest X5 is quickly becoming my favorite of all the mid-size executive luxury SUVs, and I've already had a chance to drive pretty much all the engines, the base inline 6, the plug-in hybrid, the V8 M60, but I actually haven't had a chance to spend a week with this model, the X5M Competition, which sits at the very top of the pecking order. BMW got rid of the base M version. Now it only comes with Competition, and compared to the M60 that I drove last year briefly, this model has about 100 more horsepower, but the same torque. It also has these fatter staggered wheel setup, although I think you can get a similar setup in the M60i. But regardless, this car has 617 horsepower with standard xDrive all-wheel drive through an 8-speed automatic. BMW claims 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. Now, I haven't had a chance to 0 to 60 test this car. The time to beat is 3.4 based on the Audi and Mercedes competitors that I had for a week. But let's go ahead and see what we can get on our usual stretch here. We're in Sport Plus for everything. Launch control active. Ooh! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh my! Wow, 0 to 60 in 3.51 seconds there. So it's about 0.2 quicker versus what BMW claims. However, sadly, that is about 0.1 second off the time that I got in the GLE 63S and the Audi RS Q8. Both of those are 2023 and 2024 models, but still, this is in that same ballpark. Remember, we are driving around in a car that weighs like 54, almost 5,500 pounds. So this is a heavy beast, but the interesting thing about this car is just how it delivers its power. This is a V8 twin turbo with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. There is very little to no lag in this thing, and it's actually shocking how responsive this car is. It kind of reminds you we are at the peak of internal combustion power. Just because we can, let's try another launch. Ooh, brutal. 3.65 there. That's with it more going slightly uphill. So we'll take the 3.5 as our best time. This is, again, among the quickest that you're going to find in this segment. They're all going to be pretty much right up there. I will say that some of its competitors, like the Mercedes with its race start, does launch a little bit harder than this. The revs build up to around 4,000, but overall, it's still a really incredibly quick car that's going to, make you think, oh, I should definitely spend the money for this. Because remember, the X5 M60, which has about 100 less horsepower than this car, I haven't spent a week with one, but when I did 0 to 60 test one back in South Carolina, it did it in 4.2 seconds. So there is a pretty good improvement there in the time. Remember, the slowest X5 will do it in a smidge over 5 seconds. So this is some pretty potent stuff, but I mean, obviously, it depends on what you're used to. If you guys are, coming from those really quick electric SUVs, this is going to feel, quick, but not quite as quick as those. Although at the top end, this may definitely have the additional power. I'm gonna actually pull the drive mode here into its M1 setting. I had it in M2, which was maximum attack mode for everything. But now in M1, I have the suspension to set into comfort. The one thing I love about this car is the steering. BMW has always typically had sharp steering. They kind of went through a phase where it was awful when they switched to electric, but this is really quick. It's got quick dynamic steering. The chassis just changes directions like a sports sedan. There's very little to no body lean. It's just incredible how sporty this thing is to drive. It feels pretty much on par with the last Porsche Cayenne that I tested, which is, again, an insanely fast sports car disguised as an SUV. Ooh! Oh, I love this 8-speed. This ZF 8-speed is the perfect partner for this engine. It just bangs off of shifts with DSG quickness, but it also is really smooth at low speeds, which is what you want in a luxury SUV like this. Now, the ride quality in this model, obviously when you've got these big 21s and 22-inch wheels, it's gonna feel firm. It's gonna feel like a tall riding sports sedan. You're gonna feel the bumps. You're also gonna hear a lot of noise. There's a good amount of road noise that comes in through the tires and through the cabin. And then of course that lovely V8 sound, which I love. I love to hear more of it. It has the crackles and pops that you kind of expect when you're buying a vehicle with an M competition badge. It just feels really satisfying to drive this thing very quickly. Oh, I would never get tired of that. And the other great thing about this xDrive system is it has a rear biased ability to send more power to the rear, so you can get the tail to step out in this car, which is kind of satisfying because you're in a big, tall SUV that has room for 5 and all their stuff. I have the suspension back into its stiffest setting, and in this setting you definitely feel a lot more. The steering gets even sharper, the body rolls even less, but you definitely will feel the suspension crash over bumps. There's no adaptive air suspension available in this car. You can get that in the M60, which will greatly improve the ride quality if you guys prefer more of that comfort-oriented, a theme here. The seats in this car also are unique. They are far more aggressively bolstered. They also look like they belong in like an M3, a race car. But you know what? They're also really comfortable and supportive. I'm sitting here with the cooled seat on. I'm getting a massage, although I will say the massage seats aren't as good as the massage that I've experienced in like a Mercedes product. It has different levels of intensity, but I don't really feel it quite as much. It doesn't feel quite as soothing as the other competitors. So I think BMW needs to work on the programming of their massage. Visibility is also really good out of the front, the side, the rear. The company still doesn't do a digital camera rear view mirror, which would be nice. But overall, if you're going to drive this car normally as a daily driver, you can certainly do so, and it's not going to beat you up depending on what your tolerance levels are for noise in a stiff suspension. But, if you want the more comfortable V8 X5, just go buy an M60 with the smaller 20-inch wheels and add the adaptive air suspension. That has the ride quality befitting of a luxury brand. Now, in terms of fuel efficiency, this model gets 4 mpg less than the V8. So you're going to pay, obviously, for that extra 100 horsepower and the increase in ride and handling capabilities. In my week's worth of testing, I sadly only averaged around 14 mpg in mixed driving, which is not great. On the highway, the best I could do was around just under 18 mpg, which is, again, not wonderful, but this is an M competition, so you have to pay to play at the pump. Obviously, with the 22 gallon fuel tank, you're looking at just a smidge over 300 miles of range on a full tank, which is what I typically got in my testing. This thing is required to run on premium, so nobody said this thing would be cheap to run. And that's probably the reason why a lot of enthusiasts who have this kind of money are considering making the switch to all electric performance SUVs, just because you don't have to pay so much at the pump for fuel. It is obviously nice that BMW does with the whole electrification route. They try to improve the efficiency, but the V8 M60 again gets 4 mpg better, and you should be able to attain that in the real world, even though it's not going to be quite as quick. It won't handle quite as well. BMW says this model is track ready. I would be skeptical to put something like this out on the track, especially when you have it with the panoramic sunroof, the Bowers & Wilkins stereo. This is a luxury SUV. People aren't going to take this thing to a track. They're going to get a smaller vehicle like an M2 or an M3 to do their track driving. This is going to be, obviously your daily driver. But overall, in the X5 family, this sits at the very top of the pecking order. Would I purchase this over the other competitors? Well, that's the thing, is BMW has so many excellent models. The base engine is so damn good. There's a plug-in hybrid of that'll get the best efficiency and nearly 40 miles of electric-only range. And then, of course, there's the regular V8 M60, which is certainly no slouch. Doing 0 to 60 in the 4-second mark is going to be plenty fast for people, and you also save yourself $30,000 in the process. But again, if you must have the ultimate X5 for bragging rights, or you actually are one of those crazy individuals who would take this thing to the track, this is obviously going to be playing in the same league as all the best that you're going to find from its other European rivals. So after spending a full week with the ultimate version of the BMW X5, I have to say I'm torn on this model, because while I love, as a driving enthusiast, the most powerful and most track-capable version of any vehicle, I have to say in a vehicle like the X5, it has kind of a conflicting mission, because obviously BMW offers such a wide range of models. I mean, the company managed to sell a little over 72,000 X5s here in the US. It's the company's best-selling vehicle here in America. So this car needs to offer a wide stretch of models to appeal to every, lifestyle and individual, and of course their price range. As you guys saw, the 4.4-liter V8 definitely delivers the quickest acceleration. 3.5 seconds to 60 is around 0.8 seconds faster versus the M60i version of this car. However, the regular X5 can do, the 0 to 60 sprint in around 5 seconds, which is certainly no slouch. The ride quality of this model is a mixed bag, because there are times over smooth pavement where I found it to be agreeable. And then over, rougher roads, it was a little bit crashy, it was a little bit noisy. The seats, however, are extremely comfortable, even though they're the M Sport seats, at least for me. The back seat offers a good amount of space. The trunk is also generous. The tech in this car, BMW's latest iDrive system, certainly takes a little bit of getting used to, especially since they got rid of all the actual hard buttons and they put it into the screen. But once you kind of set everything up, it's something that you can kind of get accustomed to relatively quickly. The styling in this car, I think, is one of my favorites. I love the LCI Lifecycle Impulse updates that they've made. They just made a really good looking SUV, even better looking, especially in the right color combination. Really where the X5M competition is going to give me pause is when you start looking at the rest of the lineup, because you can get into a regular X5 S-Drive 40i for around $65,700 at around $3,000 if you guys want all-wheel drive. Most of you, I imagine, are going to do that. Now, if you guys want this model here, the M competition starts at a $124,700 price tag. That's basically twice the price of the regular X5, and compared to the M60, the V8 version, which has about 100 less horsepower, this is around $35,000 more expensive. I know 35 grand is a lot of money. Now, obviously, with my particular test car here, there are a couple of options, from the executive package to the Bowers & Wilkins stereo to the upgraded wheels to the upgraded leather inside. All in, with the M Drivers package and the destination charge, this model here comes in at just over $143,000. I know 143 grand is definitely a lot of money, but what's shocking actually is this car is cheaper versus its main rival, the Mercedes-AMG GLE 63S, which has a starting price around $5,000 more. The Audi RS Q8, however, is around the same price as this, and both of those models have pretty similar performance figures, although I think that the BMW is the one that looks the best. It also has the most interior space, so I personally might choose this model. But if it were my money, I actually would probably end up saving the $30,000, because I would never track this vehicle and just go with the M60 with a plethora of options and that air suspension to give you the most luxurious ride, but still retaining incredibly quick acceleration. So I love the fact that BMW offers so many to choose from, but really only choose this model if you want the bragging rights and you're one of those loony people that are going to take an SUV to the track, because the regular V8 M60 can basically do 90% of this while also delivering a better ride quality, the same luxury and technology, and doing so at a lower price tag. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2025 BMW X5M competition. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.